Welcome to the channel where we dig deep, uncover truths, and deliver facts. And today, you all made it just in the nick of crime. See what I did there? I'm working on something with that. We'll see. It might be too corny. Y'all let me know. But anyways, did y'all miss me? Because I definitely missed you guys. We took a quick holiday break in NYC for the holidays, for Thanksgiving, and we got back Sunday. And I hope that every one of you guys who celebrated had the best Thanksgiving. But now, guys, it's back to business. Business as usual. And trust me, this comeback episode is going to be worth the wait because we have new lawsuits, new shocking allegations, and a family war over nearly $500 million. And that is just the beginning of today's deep dive. Just the beginning. Now, I can already see my mod squad rolling in on YouTube and on TikTok. I appreciate you guys holding down the comments. And for my early crew that is here showing up like clockwork, I appreciate you guys as well. The energy in this community never fails to amaze me. And for those who are new here, smash that like button, hit that follow button, and make sure those notifications are on for both TikTok and YouTube, because with the way these stories have been developing, you don't want to miss a single update. Not a single one. And by the way, if you are watching on TikTok right now, we are almost halfway to the goal of 10,000 likes. Please tap that screen getting me to 10,000. Helps push it out to the FYP. And I would be forever grateful. Something free that y'all can do that helps my platform quite a bit. That being said, before we get into those explosive developments that are about to change everything we thought we knew, or maybe not that much. Maybe that's overselling it. I don't know. Let's talk about, though, I think, what makes these deep dives possible. Let's talk about that because I'm excited. I'm actually excited to share these with y'all today. I'm excited every day, but you know. So if you are on, I'm going to go ahead and do this real quick. If you are watching on TikTok, you might not see this. So I'm going to pin these so you can know what we're talking about. We'll take them down when we're done. Okay. But my newest book came out right before we left for Thanksgiving, and they began flying off the shelves. I had to turn my TikTok shop off on vacation mode, so I didn't get any orders. Fortunately, they were all frozen because I couldn't ship them out in time. And now that I'm back, I don't expect to have these much longer. My newest book, which I will show y'all right here, it's pinned, is The Lost Balloon. All right? It just launched. Now, what makes this story so special? All right, it's called, by the way, The Lost Balloon, a book about sharing, but it's more than just sharing. And it's not just another bedtime tale. This is a magical journey where a lost balloon leads to an incredible space adventure, but that'll captivate your child's imagination. It also shows I cannot talk today, an unforgettable friendship between a young girl and Nova, the most lovable, look at him, he's adorable, lovable little cutie three-eye alien that you have ever seen in the galaxy. And it shows your children that true friendship knows no boundaries. It's a powerful story that teaches kids the most valuable gifts often come from sharing with others and opening our hearts to those who seem different. It's also an enchanting way for your little ones to discover new cultures and celebrate differences through the eyes of Victoria and her alien friend. And I feel like with holidays, especially right now, because we're having that discussion with my daughter, like, hey, you know, before Santa comes, we got to get rid of some of these toys to make room for new toys. And we're talking about kids that are less fortunate, things like that, than her. So this is a really great way to kind of have that conversation. All of these books come signed. But it is the perfect way to spark conversations about friendship, generosity, and the pure joy of just giving with your kids. Now, here's the deal about these. Okay, I'm going to hold it back up. For the soft covers, I think we just got an order too. I'm not sure. But we are down to 39 of these. Okay, 39. And I think we have 40 or so of the hardcovers, but they are disappearing fast. In fact, if I hadn't turned my TikTok shop off, they probably would have all been gone. Now, once they're gone, though, we're out till 2025, and I promise these make the best Christmas and holiday gifts. So if you're thinking about grabbing a copy, do not wait. The way these are moving, I honestly cannot guarantee that they'll be available by the end of the week. Now, you can secure your copy of it by visiting the TikTok shop or JustInTheNickOfCrime.com. And like I said, they will all come signed, and there usually is a place where you check out. If you want me to dedicate it to your child, I can do that. All right. Now, the next one I'm going to show you real quick. I'm going to do this one a little bit differently, and I'll show you why. I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to do it this way because there's a reason for this little soft cover bundle. Now, here's my other book. Where is it? I'm going to show you the soft covers. I have hard covers too, of Boundaries. Now, this one in particular, guys, I'm sorry if you don't want to hear this. I know that, just to let you know, I know it takes some time, but this is how I pay my bills, y'all. We have to do it. We have to do it. Plus, we wrote it to help you guys. But since we are now officially, so I was at the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, and I didn't stay there the entire time solely for the fact that It was raining. But what I told my daughter is once you see Santa show up at the Macy's Day Thanksgiving parade, and that parade is over, that officially kicks off the start of the holiday season. All right. So now we are officially in the holiday season. So let's talk about holidays and family for a minute, because a lot of y'all know what I know, which is the moment where that holiday music begins to play. You start thinking about the holidays. Instead of feeling joy, sometimes you feel that tightness in your chest. You might even feel a little bit of dread. There's upcoming gatherings where every empty chair tells a story, and why don't you just feels like a tiny little paper cut, right? And I've been there. I am there, which is why I wrote this book, because here's the raw truth. Gen Z, millennials, and even some Gen X, we are part of a silent revolution. Over 25% of millennials and Gen Z are doing something our parents never could, which is choosing peace over tradition, healing over history. And we're having those hard conversations with our kids because we refuse to pass down the weight that we carried. Now, here is just where it gets beautiful, because we're not just setting boundaries, we're building legacies, and we're teaching our children that love doesn't come wrapped in anxiety, that no can be the most loving word in our vocabulary, and that their family story is whole, complete, and beautiful exactly as it is. This is not another parenting book gathering dust on your shelf. It is a late night conversation I wish someone had with me when I was staring at my ceiling, wondering why family felt so complicated. This book is your permission slip to celebrate your perfectly imperfect family, right? Because here's what I know for sure. Our kids deserve to inherit our wisdom, but not our wounds. So what I can tell you about this, I think somebody just ordered one too with the bundle. If that's true, I have six of these bundles left, 6 of them. And when they're gone, they're in soft cover. They're gone for the year. You can still get them in hardcover, but I have 6 soft covers left. So again, same thing, TikTok shop, which is pinned below for that bundle. You can also buy them individually, hardcover, softcover, or at JustInTheNickOfCrime.com. Now, lastly, and then we'll get to it, and I'm going to leave this one up for this. Actually, I'm going to do this one. I'll do this because you guys saw the bundle. This is the hardcover bundle for all 3. I do not have a softcover bundle for all 3 because I just don't have the stock to do it. But I'm going to talk about this book real quick, and there's a story that I'm actually going to cover today that this book is going to become really relevant towards. And the story that I'm going to share with y'all is one of the exact reasons I wrote this book. This one is called Surprises Are Okay, Secrets Are Not. And after years of covering true crime, one thing that I've learned is that the most precious gift we give our children doesn't come wrapped in a shiny package and bow, but it comes from giving them the power to speak up and to protect themselves and arming them with that knowledge, which is why I wrote that book. Because basically what it does is it shows kids the critical difference between fun surprises like those holiday presents and dangerous secrets. It builds confidence without creating fear and gives them practical tools they'll actually remember. And it makes one thing crystal clear, which is that their voice matters always. But here is the truth bomb that nobody wants to talk about. The biggest threats rarely come from strangers in dark alleys. They come from people who use secrets. And you're going to see this in one of the stories we talk about today. They use secrets as weapons. People who have earned your trust just to abuse it. But we can flip that script, y'all. Because every single child deserves to know that they have the power to speak up. And while, yes, we should have had these conversations yesterday, the best next time is now, especially with family and friends coming in, rolling around the holiday season, people being around your kids, because it's never the person you suspect it to be. I can tell you that. And again, we have limited quantities of the soft covers left. Those have all been allocated for the soft cover bundle left. There's 6 of them, but you can still buy. Once these are out, though, you can still buy these as singles and a hardcover. Again, they all come signed. Now, let me turn off the TikTok shop real quick on here because we're done with that part, I suppose. But yeah, for those of y'all who did order, I saw some orders coming through. Thank y'all for that. But I have some other really fun announcements today, and then we're going to get into these stories, guys. All right. So, if those books are something that you don't need right now, that's okay. But you still want to support our work here, whether you're on TikTok or you're on YouTube. As you know, I never beg for gifts, donations, super chats. But you know what? I can't stop you from being generous. So if y'all something that y'all decide to do, that's on you. That's 100% on you. Now, a couple quick announcements, okay? Because I've been trying to show this one up. I am now on Blue Sky. If you are on TikTok watching this, you're not going to be able to see what I'm showing. You have to jump over to YouTube for that, but don't feel obligated, whatever. But I'm on Blue Sky. You can get to it through everything you need can be found in the link tree in my bio. But you can follow me there. Blue Sky, if you don't know what it is, it's basically a new Twitter created by the people who created Twitter. This was in the works when Elon Musk bought Twitter, now X, and they have launched this. The other thing that I literally never talk about that I was told, like, you need to talk about this. Did y'all know that I'm on Cameo? I've been on Cameo for quite some time. So if you want a fun Christmas present, like if you have somebody that is a fan of me or whatever, or something fun that you want to do, we can work together to create a Cameo just for them. I'm very cheap on there. You can buy me for very little monies. But in all seriousness, what I've done in the past with Cameos is we've taken a story from that person's birthday or whatever occasion or whatever y'all want to do, and we basically give them their own personalized, very interesting true crime story. So that is linked in my bio if you want to do that. Now, the next thing I want to share with y'all, this is really exciting, y'all. By the way, thank y'all. Real quick, let me just thank you guys for getting me to that over 10,000 likes. Keep hitting that. I appreciate it. So YouTube, you'll have to jump over to TikTok for this one, or I will, not right now, or I will upload this after it's done to YouTube so you can watch it. I was invited to do podcasts on live again. Last time we did that with the family of Gabby Petito, Nikki and Jim Schmidt, and Joe and Tara Petito. And we had a great time doing that. So I figured for the next one, we needed an equally awesome guest. And I'm saying that as Nikki is here. So I didn't even know she was in the YouTube. So she's here. But we love Nikki, by the way. That whole family is amazing people. Their goals. But we have an amazing guest, Ashleigh Banfield. If you are a true crime person, obviously you know that's a big deal. Ashleigh Banfield will be on with me this Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern time. There is a live event scheduled, and there is a video there's a video that I did today on it too. So if you have questions that you would like to ask Ashleigh Banfield, and you're going to be on that live, go to that TikTok video, drop your question in the comments, and we will try to get that worked in. So I'm very excited to have her on. And with that said, let's get into today's show, because those are the housekeeping items that we have, right? Now, real quick, before I get into the show, I want to talk to you about something. And I did a video about this, but I want to talk about this anyways. It's not necessarily news related, but it's something that I experienced. And so I want to share that with you. And real quick, just heads up, again, if you're just coming in now on TikTok, if you're watching there, you can head over to YouTube if you want to. Just to let you know, if you come in late, this will be saved there. Anyway, so as I told you guys, we went to New York City for Thanksgiving, right? And I'm going to give you all the information on this. We came back on Sunday. Our flight left at like 5-something p.m. And we were on Southwest flight 1667 from NYC LaGuardia to BNA Nashville, right? And there, in the row across and like a row down from us, like a cross and down one, there was a mother on that plane, and she had a very young baby. She had I would say that this baby was no more than probably 9 months old, if that, but around there. And, you know, the baby started crying on the flight. And this is not a very long flight, y'all. And this woman stands up and starts berating the mom. Okay. A woman in front of her stands up and starts berating the mom. Now, once I realized what was going on, I had these headphones on, which, by the way, are very good noise canceling headphones, mind you. But I had these headphones on and I couldn't hear. So my wife tapped me and showed me what was going on. And we got to hear some of it toward the end. And I went to grab my phone to try to record it because I was going to blast this all over the place. Like, no, you don't do that. But I turned my phone off, not just airplane mode, to save battery. And so I didn't get a chance to record it, which I guess is lucky for that person. But the woman was like yelling at this poor mom who began crying herself. And look, I'm a parent. If you guys have kids, you know that that when you have a baby crying, specifically in a public place, the person who it affects the most is probably the mom. So this woman stands up, starts yelling at her, and makes the woman cry. Nobody really says anything. I told my wife that if she starts again, I'm going to have my phone ready and I'm going to get involved. And I didn't get a chance to. Fortunately, she didn't stand up again. But basically, this woman was clearly intoxicated on this flight. She clearly kept drinking during the flight. And to be honest with you, I don't think Southwest was serving her. I think that she was pulling it out of her bag, and she had these two like 6'3", like ginormous, like not like overweight, but just like built, like jacked up, like sons with her. And like they said absolutely nothing, but let their mom like go hammer on this other mom with her baby crying. And here's just what I want to say to all this, all that aside. And by the way, she also almost fell down. She was so drunk that when we got off the plane, she almost fell down headfirst the escalator. I was not going to help her if that happened. But anyways, here's all I want to say to that. Babies, kids crying are a nuisance. It's annoying. I get it. Okay. I have a kid. I have a 5-year-old. I remember those days. It can be embarrassing, right? But babies have every right to travel. We don't know the situation that family was in. You know, they could have been going. I don't know what they're in. I'm just saying they could have been there for the holidays, but they could also be traveling to try to get to a funeral. And sometimes that's the only way they can go. Babies are scared. They don't understand what's going on. When their ears pop, they don't understand what's going on. And I can tell you this mom was trying her absolute best. So all I want to say about this, if you were on that flight and you are that woman, I did do a video on it. I that stood up. Shame on you. You should do better. And I know that they're from Nashville because the son was wearing a Nashville hat, like one that locals typically wear. And for the woman who was being yelled at, just know that we all saw you doing your absolute best, right? We saw it. It was not your fault and you didn't deserve that. I just want to make that statement because I think it's a big deal and I think it's important. Now, with that said, I've got to issue a very strong trigger warning for this next story. We are going to talk about some Diddy stuff, but this is a story that let me not get too ahead of myself. I'm just going to read this because I crafted this so it could be an appropriate trigger warning. The following story contains detailed descriptions of severe crimes against children. The story discusses real events involving the systemic abuse of extremely young children in care settings over many years. The content includes explicit discussion of predatory behavior and may be extremely distressing to many listeners, particularly parents, caregivers, survivors of abuse, and those working in child care professions. All right? Consider this your warning. Okay? Because this is bad. So earlier this year, maybe it might have been even toward the end of last year, I was covering a story about a man. Let me get his picture pulled up here. A man by the name of Ashleigh Paul Griffith. Okay, his name is Ashleigh Paul Griffith. This happened in Australia. And the issue with Australia is you don't get a lot of updates on people until they're convicted. Okay, but let me give you guys some background on this case. Now, Griffith here was initially arrested and charged with 2 counts of making CSAM material and 1 count of using a carriage service for CSAM, and this was in August of 2022. And because we're not in Australia, we might not have ever heard of a law called carriage service. I had to Google it. Carriage service basically means an internet provider, social media, something like that. Officers later charged him. So he was charged, keep this in mind, initially charged with 2 counts of making CSAM and 1 count of using the carriage service. He was later charged with 1,400 additional charges after more CSAM was found on devices that belonged to him a year later. The more they began to uncover, the more charges that were brought against him. Now, initially, Ashleigh Paul Griffith denied these allegations made against him, but later helped police identify nearly 70 victims he had filmed and photographed for selfish reasons, self-gratification reasons, while working in multiple child care centers. Apparently, Griffith, somebody asked if this was about Diddy. Diddy's coming. This is not about Diddy. Griffith had meticulously categorized and labeled his videos, many of which included him R-ing or performing S-acts with the girls on his computer. He told police that this was a way for him to easily find a video that he wanted to watch. Now, apparently, again, guys, warning, he apparently preferred girls aged 2 and 5 years old. 2 and 5, because they were easier targets, but multiple of his victims were 12 months old. But he said that he was attracted to children up to 12 or 13 years old. He told the court, had been told basically that he would watch his own videos every few days for his own gratification. Now, this lasted a long time, guys. His offending, victimizing children spanned through his career in childcare, which lasted from 2003 up until his arrest in 2022, nearly 20 years. Nearly 20 years. Now, at one point, another care center, apparently there was another employee that was accused. This is going to add insult to injury, guys. That was accused of a very similar type of abuse, right? Another person, not Ashleigh. And so Ashleigh said, when that got out, Ashleigh, who is a massive predator, actually he is labeled as probably Australia's worst ever child offender ever in Australia. He sent out a letter. He sent out a letter to the parents when another employee was accused of this type of behavior. And he said this: "Please be advised, we are taking the issue very seriously and are currently seeking legal advice to be considered. We want to reassure families that the safety of you and your family are of paramount importance to the center, and we take the child protection extremely seriously. All employed staff undergo rigorous screening through the blue card system, which included a police and criminal history check." Now, let's talk about how he was arrested real quick. He was first arrested by Australian federal police when they found evidence that he had filmed or photographed himself SAing victims, all young girls, while he was working at child care centers in Queensland, Australia. However, he also has admitted to abusing girls when he lived in Italy. Now, what he would do real quick is, just to let you know, is he would basically hop from center to center to center, different countries, different states, different regions. As he would start to get caught or people might be becoming wise to him, he would leave. He would leave and go somewhere else to stay basically ahead of everything. But the court was told that the police discovered a lot of videos online, I guess on the dark web. And they were able to identify a blanket that was specifically sold to certain child care centers in Queensland, which led them to tracking him down in 2022. They were able to identify it by a blanket. Good on those officers for being observant. Now, this guy has been convicted. He was sentenced to life imprisonment with the option of parole in 27 years. He's 46. He's 46, and he is eligible for parole in 27 years. The judge says he does not believe he's rehabilitable. Now, I do want to let you guys know something about this. So, Australia doesn't have the death penalty. So he's not going to get that, although if there was ever a case that warranted the death penalty, over 1,400 videos that he took himself. 1,400. All right? But he took himself. Victims as young as 12 months old, 7 years old, up to 7. That 2 to 5 was his spot that he stayed mostly in. Very young children. Okay? There's a thing called prison justice, and they have that in Australia as well. And so I'm very happy to tell you, well, let me give you a little context first. Australia has a rule, or has had a rule, that you're not allowed to release a person's name or crimes or whatever until they've been convicted. Well, that changed, right? And Australia changed the rules. And so you can now release their names. Now, last year in October of 23, the day after, the very next day he was named in connection with these absolutely horrific and abhorrent crimes, he was attacked and hospitalized after another inmate poured hot boiling water on him. which makes me kind of happy. I shouldn't say that, but it does. Guys, this is the worst type of human being to exist. 20 years of abuse. The victims, these are just the ones he's admitted to. Who knows how many there actually are? And I'm hoping that now that he's been convicted and he's been sentenced, that maybe we'll see a little bit more prison justice. Now, if you are coming in here because of the video that I just posted right before we got on here, we're switching into some Diddy stuff now. And by the way, real quick before I do, just to let you know, Ashleigh Paul Griffith, that story is why this book was written. Right? It's stories like that as to why this book was written, which is why I say, if you have children, buy this book, not just because I wrote it, because of the reason it was wrote. It was wrote to keep your kids safe and to prevent me from doing a story like what I just did on your child. Again, TikTok shop, link in my bio. And even if you don't buy the book, please have those tough conversations with your kids. It is important. It is paramount. Now, if you were coming in here because you saw me do a video right before I went live about another lawsuit that was served at the Combs residence in Miami, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Because it wasn't for Diddy. Like father, like son, I guess. Because Diddy's son, Christian Combs, was reportedly served legal paperwork at the Miami mansion. Now, this was in a case that we had heard about a few months ago, but I'll refresh you guys. The accuser's name, and I might be saying it wrong, and if I'm saying it wrong, you can correct me because I'd like to say the pronunciation correctly. I didn't even know how to find this one. But a woman by the name of Grace O. Marseille, M-A-R-C-A-I-G-H, Marseille, I think is how you say it, O. Marseille. Correct me if I'm wrong, though, guys, because I want to know how to say it correctly. But she's the one who filed the lawsuit against Christian Combs, alleging assault, battery, SA, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. So let's talk about the situation, what happened, to give you guys some background, right? So Grace worked on a yacht that Diddy chartered for a family occasion. This was back in December of 2022. Now, the lawsuit says she believed that the other employees that were there were S workers once she was on the boat, too late to do anything. And she says she was exposed to a series of unlawful substance usage, S work, and just quote unquote general chaos. At some point during the event, though, doing her job, Grace came upon Christian, who made apparently very inappropriate advances towards her. Christian allegedly tried to pressure her into drinking with him, taking her to a music studio to do it. That was, I guess, on the boat. He then allegedly grabbed her arm, hurting her, and forced her into a seat beside him. She asked to return to the kitchen to get back to work, but Christian ignored her requests and basically demanded that she drinks, forced her to drink. So in fear of him, she complied because he had already hurt her and took some shots of tequila that he gave her. However, guess what? I'm sure none of y'all will be surprised to hear that she quickly realized that the drinks were laced. Later that day, apparently she alleges that Christian cornered her in a room and became physically aggressive with her. She says that he began groping her before taking off his clothes and exposing himself. She then says that he tried to force her to perform certain acts on him, which ceased, fortunately, when another yacht employee walked into the room. Now, here's the thing. Like so many others, she reported it. She tried to tell the captain the following morning, but they failed to investigate. And they just assumed that she consented to partying with the guests, that she did it. Somebody just said the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree, right, guys? This family, man. This family. Anyway, so Christian is getting into the same hot water. Like father, like son, allegedly. Exactly. So let's talk about something real quick. I'm going to go Cassie for a minute because I saw something while I was in New York. I read an article and I haven't made a video about this. I should make a video on this. Did you know that Diddy made one little mistake? I mean, he made a lot of mistakes, but for the sake of this discussion, he made one little mistake that put him in jail. If he hadn't done this one thing, he would still be out there, free, living his best life. If he'd done this one little thing, but he didn't, and all the dominoes fell. Apparently, Cassie approached him before taking this to court, saying that you wronged me, that we need to come to some sort of an agreement, some sort of an arrangement, because you wronged me. What you did was wrong. You know what you did. We can keep this between us. We can keep it between us. So they got into talks. They got lawyers involved. And it was quiet. Hush, hush. But Diddy refused to settle. I don't know if he thought she was bluffing. I don't know what he thought. I can't say. But Diddy wouldn't settle. So Cassie took it public, as we all know, right? She took it public. And he then settled the very next day for some undisclosed amount. We assume it's in the tens of millions of dollars. Settled the very next day. And after that began the barrage of lawsuits, which led to a federal investigation, which led to raids on his house, which led to him being incarcerated at Brooklyn MDC as we speak. Had he paid Cassie off when she privately approached him, he'd still be out there living his best life, abusing women, threatening people. Somebody said Cassie's a hero. I agree. At the end of the day with this, Cassie needs to be not the unsung, but needs to be the sung hero on this. Cassie is the one who flipped that domino to make them all fall. It's very interesting. This one little thing, I bet he is wishing every day that he had paid her off. But let's talk about a new lawsuit for Diddy. This one shows violence. Okay? This story is very interesting, and I'm going to tell you why. Well, you're going to find out why, but it's a very interesting story. So Diddy's facing a new shocking $10 million lawsuit because a fashion designer has come forward with allegations that paint a pretty terrifying picture of an incident from back in 2016. And the details are honestly, y'all, pretty shocking, in my opinion, even for Diddy. So one by the name of Brianna Bongalin, who goes by Bana, has filed, I think it's Bana or Bana, I think though, has filed a $10 million lawsuit against Diddy. She's claiming that he dangled her over a 17th floor balcony while screaming at her. She apparently had actually been working with Diddy for about 2 years after meeting him through his then girlfriend, Cassie, back in 2014. And according to this lawsuit, everything went down September 26, 2016. Bana was staying at Cassie's apartment with her girlfriend when she says Diddy showed up late at night. He was apparently intoxicated after a freak-off party. Diddy woke them up by violently banging on the door. He eventually forced his way in, and Bana got her girlfriend to hide in the bathroom, but she retreated off to the balcony, only for Diddy to storm off over to her. Diddy followed her onto the balcony, where things then took a terrifying turn. She claims that he grabbed her, groped her chest, and then, in what must have been, I can't even imagine how terrifying, lifted her up and placed her on the balcony railing 17 stories above the ground. All while screaming, "Do you know what the F you did?" Although apparently, even to this day, Bana has no idea what she was referring to. Now, somebody in TikTok already kind of broke the next part of this, but yeah, this could have ended much worse if it wasn't for Cassie Ventura, who reportedly heard the commotion and came out to intervene. Apparently, when Cassie pointed out that there was another witness present, which is Bana's girlfriend, Diddy pulled her back over the railing, but it didn't end there. He then slammed her onto the balcony's patio furniture in what was described as a last fit of violence. What's particularly interesting about this case is that it's not coming completely out of the blue, y'all. This incident was actually mentioned in Cassie's own lawsuit against Diddy from last year, where she described him picking up an unnamed woman like a child and dangling her over a balcony. Well, now we know who the alleged... You don't have to be sorry. You're good. Now we know who the alleged or the victim was. Now we know who the victim was. Right? Because she's brought her own lawsuit. Now, Diddy's team, being Diddy's team, isn't taking these allegations lying down. Through his attorneys, he's released a pretty strong statement denying everything, which I mean is what he does. They said, and I'm going to quote here, y'all, quote, starting now, as we have shared previously, anyone has the right to file a lawsuit regardless of the evidence they may or may not have. They went on to say that Bongolan had been expressing her intention to sue since last year and had been seeking legal representation to pursue these claims. The statement continues with Diddy firmly denying what they call these serious allegations, and his team says they're confident the claims will ultimately be proven baseless. They emphasize that Diddy has unwavering faith in the facts and in the fairness of the judicial process. Now, again, the lawsuit itself is seeking $10 million in damages for what Banda described as severe emotional distress she suffered since the incident. The legal document makes a pretty powerful statement about the alleged balcony incident. Got tongue-tied there, saying that the only purpose of dangling somebody over a balcony is to actually take their lives or to intentionally terrorize them and rob them of any concept of domination over their own bodily autonomy and safety. And she is not wrong. She is not wrong. I can't imagine how terrifying that experience would have been. But y'all know, guys, I don't know if you know this, but there's a bit of trouble in paradise. Right? Because as the Diddy empire has been crumbling, it's now beginning to turn into a family feud. Apparently, Diddy's mom and son are fighting for control over his massive $400 million fortune. And trust me, y'all, this story, not to sound like a Stefan skit from SNL, but this story has everything. Money, power, family drama, and a whole lot of desperation. Now, as we know, Diddy was once the king of hip-hop entrepreneurship. Now, while he sits in legal trouble, his mom, Janice, and his son, Christian, are reportedly going toe-to-toe over who gets to control his empire. This is a fortune that was built from Bad Boy Records, Revolt TV, Sean John Fashion, and so much more. But now it's all hanging in the balance. So let's talk about the players in this family drama. Because in one corner, we have Janice Combs, the woman who raised Diddy as a single mom in Mount Vernon, New York, after his father was tragically shot and killed in 1972. And y'all, you guys know this. She has been ride or die for her son, publicly defending him and claiming his innocence. And now she's apparently stepping up, saying that she should be the one to take control of everything that he's built. But then in the other corner, y'all, you have Christian Combs, Diddy's son, who was just hit with his own lawsuit, who's not about to let grandma call the shots. Sources apparently are calling this a full-on showdown with skyrocketing tensions, so much that they're even comparing it to a real-life Godfather situation. I mean, all the stuff with Diddy, y'all, you cannot make this stuff up. But here's where it gets really interesting if it wasn't already, and honestly, kind of desperate. While this family battle rages on, Diddy's empire is literally being sold off piece by piece. His gorgeous Beverly Hills mansion up for sale at a whopping $61.5 million. His private jet trying to offload for another $60 million, plus another $3.5 million a year just in maintenance fees. And why are they selling? 2 words, y'all. Legal fees. Legal fees. A former attorney, Mark Geragos, dropped this bomb. If y'all want to know what it's costing him to do this, top attorneys for this case, for cases like these, can charge up to $1,750 per hour. Per hour, folks. Let that sink in. Sources are saying that Diddy has no other choice but to start selling off his assets to cover these astronomical legal bills. It's wild to think about how quickly things can change. Just months ago, Diddy was on top of the world, a true American success story. Now his mom and son are fighting over who gets to manage what's left of his fortune while he's dealing with serious legal troubles. The man who once rapped about "nobody can hold me down" is watching his entire empire slip away. And what's particularly fascinating is how this mirrors so many historical falls from grace. When the empire starts crumbling, the family starts scrambling. But what makes this different is at the speed of which this is all happening. Because we are watching in real time the dismantling of one of hip hop's biggest success stories. And quickly, like weekly. The big question now is who's actually going to end up controlling what's left of the Diddy fortune? Will it be Janice, the mom who stood by him through everything, or Christian, his son, representing the next generation of the Combs family? And more importantly, will there be anything left to control once all these legal fees are done? Now, if you are watching this later, and even if you're watching this now, but if you're watching this in the comments later on YouTube, drop your thoughts in the comments below. Whose side are you on in this family drama? Team Janice or Team Christian? I mean, not that there's a good side, but pick the lesser of the two evils in this one. You know, crazy story, though. Crazy stories. Now, real quick, a couple other things. And this came in this morning. I didn't have a chance to add it to the story, but I do want to talk about this real quick. And I don't have a picture up or anything, so we're just going to chat. Debbie Nelson. Do y'all know who Debbie Nelson is? Real quick. Because she died. She apparently died. You can't choose neither. Kathy, I guess you can choose neither. Debbie Nelson died. Right? So if none of y'all are saying, yep, somebody said Eminem's mom. Eminem's mom died at 69 years old. Now, I just find it interesting. Typically, you know, when a celebrity's mom dies, I wouldn't really talk about that. When a celebrity dies, I will. But I feel like being somebody who was a young, you know, who was a teenager, older teenager when Eminem came out, you know, turned 18 in the year 2000, that we know a lot about Debbie Nelson, right? We already know about Debbie Nelson and everything with the estranged relationship that they had. So I don't know. Apparently they've been trying for a few years to try to fix everything. I don't know where that was at. We know that he rapped a lot about her. A lot. But anyways, thought I'd let you guys know that. The other thing that I'll mention as far as celebrities go, it was announced too that Elton John has lost his eyesight. And so he can no longer really work anymore. That came out too. Yep, hence the word Eminem. Exactly. For those of y'all who didn't know, Eminem is actually an acronym for "Every Mother is Nice Except Mine." In case you didn't know that, you were today years old. Anyways, guys, this does it for the show. TikTok, you guys stay right there. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere, TikTok. Because that's all we have today for our deep dive, fam. Now listen, if you're catching this on TikTok, you already know what I'm about to say. Head over to YouTube at Just the Nick of Crime for the full unedited breakdown. If you want to see this in full context, you'll see with the pictures and everything. And Mod Squad, you guys always, let's give it up for y'all. Mod Squad, you guys MVP'd it today, keeping our discussion space focused, respectful, while we tackled these heavy topics. And to this whole community, y'all are absolutely amazing, which is why we are different here. And I will always say that on social media, in the true crime space, current event space, I have the best group of following, period. There is no better than my followers, my people that are in here right now. Y'all are truly the best. Now, if you are watching this later on YouTube, make sure to drop your thoughts in the comments because you know that I read every single one of them. Let me know what patterns you're seeing that we might have missed. And remember, family, in cases like these, the truth often comes out in layers. Stay sharp, stay skeptical, and keep asking questions because there's always more to the story. Peace out, everyone. I will catch y'all on the next deep dive.